Hello, everyone. Welcome to our little corner of the internet where we talk about fountain pens, inks, journals, and journaling. Just about anything and everything that's going to keep you inspired. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Here we are once again, as we always are, on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m., speaking live about these wonderful topics, these amazing writing instruments that we all adore. Like to give a special welcome to all the members, many of whom are in the comments section, which I always like to see some friendly faces. So I'm not up here alone, which is very nice. I see John Manuel. Fantastic to see John Manuel here. Dr. Alaska, Kurt Geisinger, one of my buddies. Also, Tom Morley, the legend. Nice to see you, Tom. How are you? So very good to see everyone, even Techno Raptor. What did you miss? Not much. I'm just doing the introduction. So we have a fun show for you this evening. Hope to make it interesting and breezy. So what I'd like to speak about is a couple of things and anything else that comes up in the intro. So one is that I got a lot of suggestions from you all on the things on the pen that I should buy for the channel. And they were fantastic suggestions. Very interesting. They led me down a lot of fun rabbit holes. And everybody loves that. So I'm very excited for that. But, there's one pen that I've been going back and forth, and that's one thing we're going to speak about. The second thing is, you may have seen, I just released a video on the Kaweco Bronze Sport, and I kind of approached it from a different angle. For me, it was about the, not heritage as much as how the pen makes you feel, the material, sort of tying it in with history and the Bronze Age, and of course, writing with it and how much I love Kaweco nibs. And just that whole feeling of bronze and this magical material that's used often in sculptures. So we show The Thinker by Rodin, some other bronze sculptures over the years, and just this idea of striving and civilization reaching for more, and how bronze is sort of at the base of it. So that was my video. But, didn't talk so much about technical details. I often don't. I leave that to other people that do it better than I do. But I thought tonight it might be fun to compare them side by side, the bronze and the brass, and then you can see which one you might prefer if you're in the market for one of these pens. But you better move fast because the bronze is a limited edition and it's starting to sell out places. So you might want to get on it if you're interested in that. But some other updates, always fun. One is Penboy Roy will be joining me in 2 weeks' time. So that'll be lovely. Very interesting guy. I'm looking forward to chatting with him on the channel. We haven't had a guest in a while. It's very nice to have a guest. I like hearing other people's perspectives, and it's a little bit more kind of flow back and forth, which is very, very nice. So that should be fun. Oh, look at this. Laddie Gardner, the legend, has donated $25 to the channel. Laddie, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. The channel appreciates it. The channel relies on the members and super chats and other donations just to support the channel because it's an expensive undertaking. And I am kind of business minded. I like it to support itself. I do kick in cash, as you might imagine, to make sure it all flows. But it'd be great to get the channel self-supporting. So Laddie, my man, thank you for the $25, which really helps. That pays for Ecamm for the month. Actually, I think Ecamm's $40, but it pays for a lot of Ecamm. So I really appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. You've been a great friend of the channel. So thank you. So, yeah, Penboy Roy will be joining us and we'll chat. It'll be lovely. He's a really nice fellow. I'm actually really looking forward to even speaking to him again. And I also am planning to have Brendan Schmidt back on. He's always fun. He's a lovely guy. And I thought it might be interesting to hear from him for what's new for autumn, what's new for back to school, right? So it'd be nice to hear what kind of new fountain pens are coming out for that. So we're going to chat with him. And that ties into what this week's video is. Ladies and gentlemen, very exciting news. This Thursday at noon is the return of Dark Academia to this channel. So tune in Thursday at noon to Dark Academia 2, as I call it. The actual title of the video is 5 More Pens for Dark Academia. And this time I also give you tips on how to incorporate Dark Academia into your life and your fountain pen hobby. So I think you will enjoy that. So that's Thursday at noon, the return of Dark Academia. My next video, I'm super excited. Super excited. Wow, we got some super chats. Thank you. From Fritz Bjorkvist. $4.99 from Fritz. Thanks for the video on bronze. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Fritz, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I really appreciated it. I really enjoyed making that bronze video, and the fact that it resonated with you. Is that a pun? Because bronze resonates? I don't know. Let's say it's a pun. The fact that it resonated with you really makes me happy. So thank you for the $4.99. It goes far into supporting the channel. I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much. And another one. Thank you. Wow, from Najib Ahmed. Najib Ahmed. I love your channel and appreciate your enthusiasm and thoughtful perspective. Thanks. Najib, thank you. That's very kind of you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words. Your encouragement keeps me going. So thank you. It helps the channel quite a bit. Very generous of you, and I thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. And you're very welcome here on the channel. So I really appreciate the encouragement. I need it. I thrive on positivity. So thank you so much. Very much appreciate it. So oh boy, I need to interrupt myself for another super chat from Lisa Lab for $19.99. Lisa, thank you so much. Very kind of you. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. It goes very far to support the channel, and it just really affects me. Thank you. Your confidence in this channel motivates me and keeps me engaged. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it, Lisa. Very, very generous of you. Thank you. Wow, I'm overwhelmed. Thanks, guys. Very nice. So what I wanted to mention is that we had our first Zoom meeting for Illuminati and Cognoscenti members. So last Saturday, we all got together on a joint Zoom call and talked about pens and all that. It was so fun. I can't wait to do it again. I did have to sign up for professional Zoom, so that was another expense. See, that's how the channel works. It's like it just spirals. But it's really fun for the Illuminati Cognoscenti members and for me to actually meet people. So that's something we did. It was absolutely brilliant. And we're going to do it again soon. So if you missed it, don't worry. You'll get another shot. And we're going to make it a regular thing. I went like to an hour. I think next time we'll do a half hour, 45 minutes. I want to keep it fun for you guys. The other thing is that I need to interrupt myself again because Kurt Geisinger, the man, the myth, has donated $20 to the channel. Thank you, my friend. You're one of the members, so I really appreciate the support. What you do already is enough, but you're a lovely, wonderful guy, and the channel and me specifically thanks you. So I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. It's always fun keeping the channel going. So thanks for the help with that. So the other thing we're going to do for Illuminati and Cognoscenti members, which I am super excited about, I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm going to have them on. And I mean, on the live. I just thought it would be fun to bring in a member and interview them like how I interview people for, say, 15 minutes or whatever it is. I think it'd be absolutely fun. I might just go in order. And if they don't want to do it, don't feel like you have to do it. It would just be lovely to have you if you want to do it. Know that I appreciate you, and it's just another way for me to thank you. And there's interesting things behind the scenes, blooper reels. And the latest is I'm doing a lot of commentaries. The Bronze Age came out last Friday on the Kaweco Bronze Sport. The members got to see me commenting on it. So I was telling all about how the video was made, what my inspirations were, why I chose certain cuts and other cuts I didn't, why I chose the music I chose, all that. So it's super fun. And I think I am going to release that or something like that on the broader channel at some point, but I definitely put it out there. Terry Edginton. Terry, you do so much for this channel. I don't even know how to thank you at this point. I am just running out of thank yous for you. You are such a source of strength for this whole pen community and for this channel specifically. So thank you so much. The super chat is very, very, very much appreciated. So thank you so much. Thank you, Terry. You're the best. You're gold, I tell you. So yes, let's get into something. Should we get into something? And then I can make other announcements as we go. Things always come out. Simon Krupa says the editor's cut. Yeah, it's more like the editor's commentary. Because I don't change the video, but I use Ecamm, so I'm up in the corner and the video runs, and I've learned I can't speak over it. You can't hear me, so I stop the video and then I explain what's going on, where the setting is, why I chose a certain pan or dissolve, that kind of thing. So it's super fun for kind of getting into the why I choose the cuts I choose. And one of the interesting things about my videos that you guys may not know is that my average cut in a video, and I think my average video length is around 14, 15 minutes. So they range from like 20, 25 down to like 10. I think 10 are my breezy ones, right? So my average cut in those videos is about 6 to 8 seconds. So think of all those cuts. All those cuts, there's so many within one video. That's why it takes so long. But it's very rewarding. I love doing these. So lots of fun. So I see a lot of love for, John Manuel's up for being on the show. So that would be good. John, you're a lovely guy. I got to meet you on the Zoom and speak to you after we've exchanged letters. Really enjoyed it. Hope you did too. You're a great guy. So fantastic. And I see Miss Marilyn Darling's here. Anytime Miss Marilyn Darling is here, although I'm having trouble saying her name. His name, sorry. Their name. This evening, I am a bit tongue-tied. I've been upstairs kind of wrestling with my daughter. And then she had to go to bed. And then I ran down to get on the air. So it's been kind of one of those nights where I'm running. But that's okay. All right. So what I wanted to talk about is last week I was speaking to you guys about all the different pens that I'm thinking of purchasing for the channel. And it's really tough because I want a pen that's just right, that's going to be a lot of fun to talk about, that maybe ties into some other threads, so I can make an absolutely beautiful video and make it very kind of bring in a lot of different threads. So I was thinking of like the Visconti Van Gogh would be perfect because you can get into the life of the artist, their paintings, and then tie it in with the pen. It's pretty easy. But I'm not entirely inspired by the pen because those Visconti nibs can be a little touchy, and I can certainly have somebody I can actually have somebody check it before it comes out. Yet at the same time, you want it to be really special. And it also has a cartridge fill system, and I think cartridge converter fill systems are probably the best. And it's a really radical thing for me specifically to say. So if you were to push me, and all things considered, I think cartridge converter is the way to go, because if it breaks, it's so easy to just swap it out. And if you have a lever fill, you have an internal piston fill, anything like that, when a vac fill, when they break, it's much more of a pain for me and my skill level. That means I have to send it out. Now, if it's a lever fill, I'm pretty sure I can send it to Laddie or somebody to fix for me. But I think that some of the more really intense stuff, I don't really have a source for anymore. But a cartridge converter, you can just grab another one. I recently did that with my vintage Cross. It was leaking. And every time I used it, I was taking a small ink bath and getting the blue right hand instead of the red right hand. I guess if I put red ink in there. And I found the original converter for it. I don't think I had to, but I'm very particular that way. I didn't want to just change it with one that fit. I wanted the right one. And it works brilliantly now, and I'm very pleased. It sort of brought back the joy of owning that pen. And you'll see that it showed up on recent lists. And that's why, because I found the converter and I started using it again. And it just really made me fall in love with it all over again. So I think they're best, but I really want a pen that's more integrated, where the fill system is part of it. And I think that's a certain elegance and simplicity to it, even if it's a complicated mechanism. Just the idea that you take the pen, unscrew something, put it into the ink, and lock it down, and you're ready to go. I love that. So something like a Visconti Homo sapiens is that way. So the Lotus Garden was something I was thinking. Another one I saw, and I might mess up the name, so if anybody wants to fact check me in the comments, please do. And that is the Leonardo primary manipulation. I should have written it down, but that pen is really interesting, but it's got a terrible name. Like primary manipulation. Was that like, I don't know, your first boyfriend was your primary, who manipulated you? It just sounds kind of awful. I know it's the material. I know it. I know it's the material, but still. And the material's beautiful, but it has a bad name. Now, that wouldn't hold me back. Bad names don't hold me back. But what does hold me back is that it's a $350 or so pen with a steel nib. And I know, steel nibs can be wonderful, but there is that certain price that you don't really want to bust through with a steel nib. I think it somewhere around $300. I think steel nibs need to kind of go away. Now, there's reasons. I don't think there's not a value here. It's a limited edition, fantastic pen, great fill system, internal piston, I believe, beautiful material, limited, gorgeous. Saw it on Tom Odo's video, and it looks so beautiful, but it's a lot of money. I don't know. I don't know. Miss Marilyn Darling makes the insightful point, all words are made up. Truly. So one of the other pens I was thinking is a Lamy 2000. And the reason that I was thinking it is that I have said several times on this channel that I will not buy a Lamy 2000. And I have some reasons for that, and I will share them with you shortly. But what makes it fun to buy it is, as my wife would say, I can be a bit cheeky at times. And I'm not sure a lot of my personality comes across on this channel, or at least the sort of more playful, humorous side of me. I think you get me when I'm thinking of things artistically or when I'm sharing my background with depression and how I fight that or endure it. I think endure it's a better word. I really don't like the term fighting depression. You kind of endure it. It beats up on you and you take it. I think that's probably a better way to characterize it. But I don't know. It's just that I think it's a little cheeky sometimes to just have a little bit of fun, to mess up my lists. A lot of my top 5 pens lists, you may or may not notice, sometimes there's 7 or 8 pens in them. Uh, I've never really been called out on that. So then I started to have more fun with it by doing 5.5 pens or 5 pens plus 1, things like that. 3 pens. I think I did top 3 once. 5's just the perfect number for any list, isn't it? 5 or 10. Off numbers just seem, any other number between 1 and 10 besides 5 and 10 just seems a little odd, you know? Top 5 choices just feels right. And there's enough time to speak about them. But sometimes you do need to slip in extras. So in the spirit of cheekiness, I thought it would be fun to buy the pen that I swore I'd never own because it would be great video. It would be great cinema. You know, it would just be kind of meta controversial, right? It would be controversial for us, but maybe not for anybody else. I know Gino's out there saying that it's an iconic writer. It is. I hear these things. I hear you. Simply Oz wants to hear why I'm not a fan of the Lamy 2000. I am going to tell you. I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, so reason number 1. I hate hooded nibs. And I don't just sort of not prefer them. In almost every instance but one, I just don't like hooded nibs. I find them very difficult just to see. And I end up doing this thing, trying to see if I have a pen handy to kind of show you, like, I've got the Visconti Homo sapiens here. I kind of end up like twirling it to try to find the edge. And I'm trying to write, and then I can't see because the grip's in the way and the hooded nib is somewhere below it. And I'm twirling, trying to find, and I get false starts, and I don't enjoy that. And that is the experience I have had with the Parker 51, which is probably one of the most awesome design pens out there. It's famous, it's legendary. But I don't even like that pen so much. I respect it. I love the design. I love the color. Anytime I've used it, and every once in a while I get in this mood where I have to use it, I feel a bit like Don Draper or something. I feel like it's a pen that would have been around the office on Mad Men. It's got that mid-century kind of design cue and context to it. So I quite like it historically. And Parker then was just a magnificent company. But it's not fun to write with for me. It's just not. And similarly, the one time I've tried the Lamy 2000, I just found it hard to see the nib. Now, I do like that it has a piston fill and the integration looks really nice. The other thing I kind of don't like about it is that it's just really dull. It's just really dull color. It's kind of a textured black. And then they said, well, let's put out a really spiffy color. And they put it out in a really dull brown. It's just an odd choice, right? You'd think, you'd say like, well, this pen is sort of boring. Let's spice it up a bit. You might do red or burgundy. Mont Blanc put out 149s in burgundy. Boy, I wish I had one of those. If I see one of those, I'm going to buy one of those because it's so pretty. And I've seen them and I'm very jealous of them. I just think they're gorgeous. I think black and gold pens are kind of boring. Black pens are boring. A lot of our pens are black. Some of them can be beautiful and boring. You know, the Sailor 1911L is kind of boring, but it's also kind of beautiful. So Lamy 2000, just not that exciting. If it were in red, I might feel different. I'm imagining it right now. A red Lamy 2000. So that would take off the boring factor, but it still would leave the nib. And I love Lamy. So it's not like I have any beef with the brand. It's one of my favorite brands. My Vista and I mean, my Vista's right here. Having a great time with this. My pen of Theseus, if you remember last live. I love this pen. I'm using it quite a bit. By the way, how cool does it look? For one thing, how cool does it look when the emblem shines from my ring light? That's very cool, right? But secondarily, the converter. The converter, huh? Doesn't it look great in a demonstrator? Or is it just me? So I have no issue with the brand. I love the brand. But picture it in red. Wouldn't that really do something? I just think it would be gorgeous and interesting. And I even like Bauhaus design, so I don't have anything against the design. I even like brutalism. So there's a shocker for you. There are some brutalist buildings that I think are amazing. The Barbican in London, I love that building. I love walking through it. I love how it's done. I think it's a brilliant use of that style. City Hall in Boston, yeah, not so much. Not so much. So, Lead Dog does not like the clip. My friend, this clip is a thing of beauty. It's like a giant paper clip. It's so great. It's so stationary. And I mean that with a E and not an A. It's just looks like a paper clip that was bent around the cap. I just love it. I think it's great. But I see your point. I do see your point. So Arlene Lennox says, I vote for Lamy 2000 Dark Lilac. That would be beautiful. That would actually be beautiful. Oh, and the Mighty Shane is here. Covers for the Lamy 2K would be cool for sure. It really would. And Lamy is usually color mad. Look at the Safari. There are so many different color Safaris. Oddly, there's no other colors for the Vista. That's a fountain pen joke. There's just not enough colors for the Vista. So I don't know. I don't know why they don't do it with that one. Simply Obs makes a good point. That is the counterpoint. I love the simplicity. I don't need flashy pens. I agree with your point, but I will say that personally, I like a good balance. So I have the classics. My 146 by Montblanc is black and gold. My 149 is. My Sailor 1911. There's a lot of pens that are sort of classic. So I really look toward adding color. And you guys know I'm not a man who's afraid of color. I am usually draped in pink or yellow or bright blues. I tamed my crocodile this week. I don't know. Do you remember my crocodile last week? It was like taking up half my chest. But I tamed it back down. So you got to keep those crocodiles in line. So very, very important. So that's just it for me with the Lamy 2000. I think it would be great for the channel. I love the idea of the controversy of how meta it is to bring it in and do some material on it. And I may yet, guys. I may just get it anyway. But at the same time, I can't bring myself to do it. So I just wanted to share that bit with you. So what is a pen I'm tempted to do? One is the Aurora Optima in the O Solo Mio with the orange body, the black cap. Very classic, has a gold nib, has a ink window, which I quite like, an internal fill system, and it's in the fives. So it's an expensive pen, but it's not horrible. It's not stratospheric. Now, a pen that is stratospheric that I'm very tempted is the Homo sapiens Lotus Garden. I just think it's pretty. It's just so pretty. It just really speaks to me. But it violates a lot of my own personal code and rules. One is that I really try not to buy pens that are just different colors. But this one is different material too, but it's very similar. It's still a Homo sapiens. So I'm weighing that. But I really do like it. It's really pretty. And then even for all the bad stuff I said about the Visconti Van Gogh, it's still a great pen for filming. I mean, can you imagine what I can do with Van Gogh and a pen? I mean, I should probably get that one too at some point. It would just be such a fun video. All the art, all the art. You know, I really like Van Gogh, but it's funny. We were at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, as you saw in the Kaweco bronze video, and there were quite a few works, of course. But the thing about him is most of what he does is great, but some of what he does is kind of rubbish. And I know that's very controversial. And I love him. But I don't know the name. I wish I had it ready, but the painting with the lady holding up the baby, I just think that's dreadful, that painting. I really do. I don't like it. I love so much. Starry Night's beautiful at MoMA. And all the sunflowers, I really like how they look like tentacles. They just have this sort of tactile feel. You feel like you could just reach in and grab them in 3 dimensions. Just love the sunflowers. And I love the ones, and I wish my wife were here because she knows it better than I do, that look like Japanese prints. They sort of like white with the light blue and the foliage. There's really lovely stuff. But tying all that in to a pen would be such a fun video. So Terry Egginton says it's a great choice. So there we go. Richard, a new member of the channel. Always lovely to see you. Most important regarding pens: how it writes, construction, how it looks, filling mechanism. In that order, that's a great pen video topic. What are the most important attributes about a pen in order? If I were to do it quickly, writes, inspiration is important for me. You definitely do want it to last. I sometimes do, though, have this idea of whether or not I can film with it. There are some pens where I'm like, it would make a very interesting video, so I don't buy it. So sometimes I'm buying for the channel. Sometimes. So I think we should now talk Kaweco. Shall we? I think we should. I'm trying to keep these brisk and interesting. I hope I'm succeeding. So, what I thought I would do is have a little comparison here of the bronze and the brass. I just think that it's fun to consider them. Let's look at them close up, shall we? I'm sure you can all guess which one this is, mostly because it says so right there. It is the brass. I do love this pen. I have a history with this pen. It's getting a nice patina. It's really, really fun. But the bronze has superseded it, mostly because of the material. It's very gold-like and very inspirational. I mean, I could do a whole video on this Kaweco Bronze Sport. Oh, wait a minute. But what are the differences? And I'll have to tell you all that the differences, in my humble opinion, are so slight, that there's a reason why I reviewed this and mostly spoke about the material, and why I ended the bronze video by saying sometimes the material makes all the difference, because it does. It does. So Miss Marilyn's asking, which one is heavier? That's a very good question, and I have the answer for you. So the brass is around, and I don't have a scale, and I am dependent on what I get out on the internet. So the brass is around 45 and a half grams, whereas the wait, sorry, the bronze is 45 and a half grams, and the brass is around 46. So the brass is heavier. But if I were to compare them, as I'm doing here, they feel identical. They just feel identical. I don't think I am sensitive enough to feel a half of a gram. I believe a gram is the weight of a paper clip. I believe. So the bronze is a heavy pen. These are heavy pens. Anywhere up over 40 is heavy-ish. There are watches that weigh 50 grams. And this pen is knocking on that. This feels, there's a certain Trump Lloyd that takes over too. The brass feels heavier in a way because it's duller. It doesn't reflect the light as much. And I think luminous things feel lighter. But if I were to do it just simply holding them in my hands, these are identical. So I don't think you can really make a strong determination if you're trying to choose between these based on weight. So, how do you choose? Are they identical in every other way? Well, nearly. There are a couple of subtle differences that I think are important. Okay. One is the machining is slightly different. They feel a bit more defined, these threads for the cap. So the threads here, I'm not going to call them sharp. Sharp would imply that there's something painful in touching them. They're not sharp, but they do feel more defined. They almost have this sort of grater feel to it, as if you could rub cheese on it and get a little bit of Parmesan down at the bottom if you wanted. But it's not sharp. It's just defined and raised, and your fingernail goes in there very well, especially the top thread. You can sort of hear it. Okay? So the threads are more defined. On here, they're much less defined. They feel lower. They're still tactile, but they're not as raised. So that is a big difference. The biggest difference is the material, though. Look at how luminous the bronze is. Just so luminous. It's the material that really sells it, but that's not to undersell the brass. I mean, there's something really charming and interesting about the dullness of it. Not everything needs to be luminous, but it is impressive when you have them side by side. So one of the things I like to do with pens that are very similar is to try on the caps just to see if they just use the same dies when they were making them. Okay, so this is interesting. So the brass cap fits the bronze body. Yeah, it fits it. So, and does the bronze cap fit the brass body? It does. It fits it. So that tells me these were done with the same tooling. So they really are identical. Because I tried this with the X159 from Jinhao and the Montblanc 149, and they did not fit. So they are very similar, but they weren't identical. Now, there is an important difference. This brass one spins right off. One of the things I really liked about my brass was that when I want to access the pen, I just do a like that, and it's out. And then I put it in, I'm ready to go. So it feels a bit looser. Now that bronze cap on here felt tight. Now, the bronze doesn't do it as well. Now, it could be that it's newer. I've had this for years, and I just got this in May. But yeah, it does spin off, but it's not quite as loose. To be honest, there's advantages with not being as loose. The brass is slightly too loose. Sometimes I do tighten it, make sure it's nice, firmly tightened. Because we don't want it acting because we don't want it to act like the Pelican M200 and come apart in my pocket. So, these are very, very similar. Almost identical. Really, the only differentiator that I can find is those threads for the caps. And a slight difference in weight that owes to material. Now, I only have one small Kaweco plunger. I should get another one. So this is one of their cartridges. But even these threads, should we try them? We should try them, right? Does it screw into the other body? This is brass. Got to keep them straight. So does brass screw into bronze? Yes. See? Brass screws into bronze. So when I tell you that these are identical, these are identical. That's actually a surprise to me. It's fun to do this because I didn't know that they were identical. And now I see it. So that means that the difference between these two and what it really comes down to is the material and how that affects the weight, and maybe even more importantly, how it affects how you perceive the weight. So if it were me, I would also take another thing into consideration, and that is the price. So this pen is around $100, but you can find it for half that. Kind of readily available around $50, $60, $70. Okay. By the way, I think it is worth it to purchase it from a pen shop and not from Amazon, even though I believe it's $48 on Amazon. But I have not had good luck purchasing pens from Amazon. Maybe you will. I like to buy them from pen stores. Okay, so this is around $100 retail. We'll just talk retail. This is a limited edition. It's bronze. It's $200. All right, we got a helicopter going over, which never happens around here. I live out by the woods. So if that picked up on the microphone, I apologize. So let me say that again. So this brass goes for around $100 retail. The bronze is twice as much at $200 retail. Well, you have to ask yourself, is all that glitters gold? Is that shiny, luminous quality of bronze with its slight texture and its resonance and its incredible delight with the facets in the cap and how it delights your eye while you use it? Is that worth $200 to you versus the historic, interesting, sort of nautical brass for half the price? Only you can answer that. For me, I would choose the bronze. It is elemental. It just has a quality. I could write a rhapsodic video about it. It is that beautiful. It's just an amazing pen of amazing materials. And to be honest, I have not given my brass one as much love as I normally had historically since my wife bought me this bronze sport for my birthday last May that just passed. So, in conclusion, there's a slight weight difference, but if there is, I can't feel it. They feel identical to me. All the other specs look virtually identical to me. The difference is price and material. Price and material. The only other difference that I can think of is that the bronze comes in a little sardine can that Kawecos are known for. And I don't think the brass does unless you request it. So this comes with the little sardine can. That is kind of a neutral to me. It's very charming, but it hasn't been back in its little box since I filmed with it. So that's really it in the differences. So $100, $200, virtually identical, and one comes with a sardine tin. So if it were me, I would get the bronze, and I would get it before they sell out because it's really wonderful. It's just an amazing material. It's very inspirational, and you can't put a price on inspiration. And the materials do make a huge difference, and I just find this just so beguiling. There's something transcendent about its beauty, the depth, and yet its toughness. It almost has contradictions. It's sort of luminous from within as it reflects. It almost looks as if it's shining from within the pen. Yet it's a heavy pen that's inspired by an old sportsman's pen that sort of looks like a round of ammunition from an elephant gun or some such from 100 years ago. But all of that aside, it's just a beautiful, inspiring pen. I'm a fan, can you tell? So if it were me, and it is me, here I am, hi, I would get the bronze. I really do like it. It's just has a quality, and I think you'll know it when you hold it in your hand. Timothy Peter, hilarious. For $200, you get the Lamy 2000. Indeed, you could. Hilarious. Well done. I see a lot of interesting comments. Some people have the aluminums. I think the aluminums are a great idea. I don't have one. I kind of wish I did. So I just think sort of experimenting with materials is a lot of fun in this hobby. definitely a lot of fun. So I think we got to the bottom of that. I think that those of you that are wondering if they're really different, when the caps fit, there's not much difference. That's for sure. Simply Obs has a steel sport. So, really good stuff. So, we got a great video coming out on Thursday at noon. Dark Academia 2, or 5 more pens for Dark Academia. So, if you like the first one, I think you'll love the second one. It was a lot of fun. There's some fun videos coming up. Really want to tell you guys one more thing, one more topic before we say goodnight, and that is my wife and I filmed a video on Sunday that is so fun, and it's a bit of a departure for the channel. So I hope you guys are going to like this. But I feel like we talk about some pretty heavy subject matters, right? And then sometimes I get into things like my peon to the bronze sport that came out last week, where it's all about the quality, the history, and all that. And it's a very high concept video. Some of these need to be fun, right? Like, let's have like some serious fun. So my wife and I, we set up a table here in the library and shot it. And the title is Cool or Not Cool. And we go down a list of fountain pens and we discuss whether it's a cool pen or it's not a cool pen. And it was super fun. I mean, the bloopers are fun. The bloopers are so fun, I might keep them in there. But I think you guys are going to enjoy it because it's a bit of a ridiculous concept, because whether or not a pen is cool has very little to do with a fountain pen. And I think we all know that. The idea of the video is that it's fun, and it's also fun to see my wife's perspective and how I disagree with her. And some of her choices for cool were very, very different than mine. And I deferred to her because she makes excellent points. So I think you guys are really going to like it. I have to edit it and get it up. So I think at this pace, it would be the second week of September when that will see the light of day, or thereabouts. But I really think you're going to love it. And I even took one of the, I took a clip from it and put it in a video I just edited on more techniques to deal with mental health through journaling. That's going up September 7th, and there's clips from Cool or Not Cool in that. So I think you guys are really going to like it. It's a lot looser for this channel. It's basically banter and holding up a pen and saying, this is what it is, this is what it does, is it cool? And it was inspired. I like to tell you guys my inspiration. It was inspired by Top Gear with Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and why can't I think of the other fellow? James May. I love James May. So it was inspired by their cool wall. Initially, I thought of doing a wall, but I don't know how to make a wall. So we just did it on one side of the table or not. I have to thank Shaq MD for a super sticker, $10. Lemon character laughing out loud. That's what it was. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, Shaq. If you guys don't follow Shaq MD, you're missing a lot of really nice handwriting. Beautiful handwriting. I go there just to relax. If you think my videos are relaxing, try Shaq MD. And thank you so much for the super sticker, Shaq. It really helps the channel, trying to get the channel to self-sustain, to sort of take care of itself. So all the super stickers and all the donations really help. Thank you. Also, if you went this far in this video and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Or this live. I mean, I forget we're doing a live, right? And membership is available too. If you even want to get more involved, love to have you behind the scenes. We're going to have members on the show. We are doing Zoom calls, so you get quite a bit of access. I think you'll really enjoy that. So very, very good stuff. 343 Overland. Let's pair pens and cars. What's the perfect pen to sign the papers on a Lambo? The Visconti Homo sapiens, Bronze Age, is the perfect pen to sign for your Lambo because it has that same Italian sprezzatura, in my humble opinion. Or a Piniter Full Metal Jacket, Grande Bellezza, that would work too. So, very cool. Very, very cool. So, very good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of fun on the channel. I appreciate you all for being here tonight. I'm going to go before I get boring. I'm trying to keep it under an hour. So, we're at 56 minutes. I've done my job. I love spending time with you guys each Tuesday. I really am looking forward to seeing you all again next Tuesday, further up the road. So, everyone, thank you. Take care. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for all the donations. And I'll see you soon. Be good to yourselves. Bye bye.